Do you want to get into playing basketball for the first time, but you're not quite sure how basketball works? Or do you not understand a specific rule in basketball that can actually be important to know as a basketball player?
Gafford, who had that big game 6 days ago, and that's a travel.
Well, in this video, I'm going to be explaining the rules of basketball that you need to know as a beginner in order to really play basketball correctly. And make sure you stay to the end of this video because I'll be explaining how to avoid violating these rules, and I'll be explaining how to play basketball as a beginner. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So what is the importance of basketball rules and why is it so important to know them? Well, in just like any sport, there are rules required to keep the games fair or keep the game safe and to keep a smooth flow within the game. And there are actually different kinds of basketball rules for different levels of basketball. But for now, let's just get into the general rules of basketball. So one rule in basketball is the shot clock violation. And what this is when a team has the ball in their hands, they have 24 seconds on the clock to attempt a shot, and if they don't attempt the shot by that time, they turn the ball over and the other team receives the ball. And the team can reset the shot clock by grabbing an offensive rebound if they miss the shot. And there are two different types of rebounds. There is an offensive and a defensive rebound. An offensive rebound is kind of like what I just mentioned earlier, but with the team with the ball in their hands misses a shot and they grab the ball back again, that is called an offensive rebound. But on the defensive end, if the defensive team grabs the ball after the offensive team misses, then that would be a defensive rebound. And in order for a basketball team to win, that team has to score the most points by the end of the game. And if the game ends in a tie, the game is then sent to overtime. And then the game will continue until one team scores more points. And then the game will continue until one team scores more points than the other. And there are certain spots on the court that cost a certain amount of points. And there is a line that stretches from one part of the court to another, and anytime a player scores from outside of that line, it is 3 points. And anytime a player scores from inside the line, it would be 2 points. And this also includes jump shots, layups, and dunks. And if a player is fouled while in motion of taking a shot, and they still make it, that is considered an N1. And that player will also get another opportunity to score with one extra free throw. But if a player gets fouled while in motion of shooting the shot, but they miss the shot, they're still going to get to the free throw line, but this time they're going to get 2 free throw opportunities since they didn't make the initial shot. And what a free throw is when a player gets fouled, that player will walk up to the free throw line, and depending on the result of the foul, that player will get 1 or 2 shots. And during a free throw, there are no fouls, there is no defense. That player will just get 1 or 2 free shots. And after making the shots, the other team will receive possession of the ball. And the next rule in basketball is alright, listen to him, brother. I'm just not picking up what you're throwing down here. I mean, like, what is we talking about, like a free throw? Like, I didn't even know a throw could be free. So what, is there a paid version? Is there a paid throw? Like, am I paying for a premium membership or something? Did he just say, is there a paid throw? Is he paying for a premium membership? No, but they don't pay me enough to kick you out of my room every time you interrupt my videos. If that's what you would like to know. Wait, they pay you to kick me out of your room? What are you talking about? I mean, if someone does pay you, I mean, you don't seem to really do that good of a job at it, if I'm completely honest. But anyway, that's all I wanted to know. I was just a little bit confused about that because, you said a free throw, so I was just thinking, well, would I have to pay for it, or would I have to come in here and ask you for your money, or it's okay. That's all I wanted to know, and you answered that, so I'm just gonna leave now. Peace. And the next basketball rule is an out of bounds rule. And there are certain spots on the court where players are not allowed to step foot on, because if they do, it will be a turnover. But only the team with the ball can step out of bounds and consider it being a turnover. And what they can do is they can save the ball from going out of bounds. Say, for example, if they lose the ball or the ball is about to roll out of bounds, they can knock the ball inbounds to a teammate to save the ball from being out of bounds and avoid turning the ball over. But if the player that's trying to save the ball isn't careful, they can still turn the ball over if they pass it to the opposite team. And on the defensive end, if a player on a team tries to block someone's shot, for example, and that ball was already about to go in the hoop, and they knock the ball off the backboard, or if they just knock the ball away, period, that would be called a goaltend. And when the defensive team goaltends, the offensive team is awarded the 2 points anyway, and then the defensive team will get possession of the ball. And both teams must have 5 players on the court at the same time for each team. And if you're a player with the ball in your hands, you're not allowed to dribble the ball, pick the ball back up and dribble again, because that is called a double dribble. And a double dribble would result in a turnover. And another rule that is very important for beginners to be aware of is the traveling rule. Because traveling is when you take more than 2 steps while holding the ball. And one way to avoid traveling is, say if you're practicing going up for a layup, or you're just practicing driving to the basket, make sure that you're counting in your head how many steps you're taking before you get to the rim. And if you count more than 2 steps, then you have traveled. And if you do travel, make sure that you keep practicing and getting used to taking only 2 steps while holding the ball, so that way you can get better at driving to the rim, or get better at doing layups, or just attacking the basket without violating this rule. And in order to avoid the double dribble, make sure that you get really comfortable with dribbling a basketball. Because if you ever feel the need to pick the ball up in the middle of dribbling, that's going to immediately result in a turnover. That's going to immediately result in the other team gaining possession of the ball. So you want to make sure that you are very comfortable with the ball in your hands, and that you're used to pushing the ball down and dribbling. And if you need to, I have a video on that will teach you how to dribble a basketball as well. And another basketball rule to avoid doing is carrying. And what a carry is basically when you're dribbling, and if you have your hand underneath the ball at any time whatsoever, that would be called a carry. And most of the time, if the referee catches you with that hand underneath the ball, they will call you for that. So in order to avoid doing this, you want to make sure that your hand is on top of the basketball at all times when you're dribbling. And now to recap. When a player gets fouled, they get sent to the free throw line. And the offensive team has 24 seconds to get a shot off, or else they turn the ball over. And the team can reset the shot clock if they grab an offensive rebound. And an offensive rebound is when the team with the ball misses a shot and they grab the ball back. And the defensive rebound is when the team on the defensive end grabs the ball if the offensive team misses. And when a player makes a shot from outside the line, it is 3 points. And when a player scores from inside the line, it's 2 points, whether it's a layup, dunk, or a jump shot. And if a player gets fouled while attempting a shot and they make the shot, it's called an and one. And then when the player scores an and one, that player gets 1 extra free throw. And in order for a basketball team to win, that team must score more points than their opponent. And if the game ends in a tie, the game goes into an overtime. And the game will continue to have more overtimes until one team scores more than the other. And if a player takes more than 2 steps while holding the ball, it was called a travel. And if a player dribbles, picks the ball up again, and then dribbles again, it's called a double dribble. And to avoid traveling, practice driving to the rim and just count how many steps you're taking. And if you find yourself taking more than 2 steps, then keep practicing until you can get used to driving to the paint without taking so many steps. And another violation to avoid is the carry. And to avoid carrying, make sure that your hand is on top of the ball when you're dribbling at all times. And to avoid double dribbling, get into the habit of controlling a basketball and be more comfortable with the ball in your hands and get better at dribbling a basketball, so that way you won't feel the need to pick the ball up again. And after learning all the important rules of basketball, you'll be able to step foot on the basketball court and actually know what you're doing, which could then lead to you limiting the amount of times you violate these rules, play the game properly, and lead to you being the best basketball player that you could ever dream to be. And then you'll be on your way to doing things like this.
Rubio flips it away. Thad Young sticking with the play and able to get the lay-in. Oh, got a piece of that one. Almost out of bounds somehow. Durant lets it go. Rose deep in his bag, but the fries are at the bottom. Wow.
But you need to learn more than just a couple rules in basketball. Click this video right here and I will be teaching you some skills that you need to master as well if you want to improve your game as a beginner.